And the river still shines and shimmers in the light as it did in our grandfather's day, when they rode all night to fish in the morning and lived in Willapa Bay.
She has spent time at a remote fly or boat in only commercial set net camp on Chiswick Island on the west side of Cook Inlet in Alaska, the focus of which is sockeye and Chinook salmon. As camp mama, Robin cooked, cleaned, hauled water and supplies, prepared gill nets and boats for fishing, and made a lot of coffee. So let's give a big, warm Astoria welcome to Robin Koger. You might have to hang, this thing's kind of spinning freely. You might have to hang on to it just to...
It's a circus microphone.
Yes.
Okay, let's see what I can do about that. Hello? Are you a pescatarian? How about you? I know you are. I am. I'm a proud pescatarian. Ask your local librarian. You'll find my picture in the biggest dictionary and you'll know I'm no barbarian. Chiswick challenges. How could I have forgotten the coffee? I'm sure we had some left over last summer. Can't find it now. It's good to be an Alaskan, where childhood friends grow up to be bush pilots looking for an excuse to fly for fun. Never been so happy to hear that plane landing on the beach. Time to set. Day breaks with the bongo beat of the boat bounding on the waves, mesmerizing in the surf, pounding to the sights, openers so short. Time to set. The tempo matching my heart racing, feeling the pulse of the sea beneath my feet, the aluminum vibrating with the hum of the motor in the salt water. Our course is set. The cadence consuming, our thoughts conducting a symphony of clashing cymbals, fish and my flesh in a frenzy, too caught up in the fight to realize we are already ensnared. The date is set. Slammin' salmon. Soggy skies still wet from last night's storm. Salmon swimming in a sluice box sea, slamming into set nets, jaws gasping, silently scream, swishing and splashing, struggling against the seas, still sensing the scent of their spawning dreams. Lucky stars. Perched on a driftwood log, half buried in the sand, high above tide line, proof of the powerful pounding this world has endured. Smelling of wood smoke and smoked salmon, I look to the stars and find luck dancing among them. Flickering and flitting, impossible to catch. Sparks rise up to join them, creating a cascade of light reflecting amber and silver, reflected, flashing behind closed eyelids, overwhelmed by the brilliance of chance that brought curious ancestors following currents and constellations, sailing to rocky shores, caressed by the flowing cadences of the sea, the tide that comes and goes, an ancient rhythm, delivering letters never sent to descendants of determined architects, carving and sculpting collapsing sandcastles. Daydream dancing in a boat on the water, dipping my fingers in the wake, feeling the spray on my face, riding the waves like surfing on my own hippocampus, holding the bow line, knees bent, balancing, swinging and swaying with the swells, daydream dancing in a coral ballroom, cephalopods and sea stars circling and whirling, glowing in seagrass gowns, glittering beneath the surface, Poseidon and me. I'm no mermaid. I'm not proud. I'm just here filleting fish. Covered in scales, I'm no mermaid. Porpoising with dolphins, flipping my tail, swimming with seals among seaweed forests and coral gardens, blooming with anemones, diving and breaching, reaching for oxygen with whales, bounding through bubble nets, chasing salmon on their return run in their zero-sum game, dying to get some where they came from. I'm not proud. I'm just a cannery girl, filleting fish covered in scales. Spa day. Cook Inlet mud and sea salt scrub, exfoliating layers of dead winter cells, sweating in a neoprene sauna, followed by a refreshing saltwater cold plunge, seaweed facial wrap, and a manicure of wet sand. Spa day for a crew hand. First fish, scales, surrendering to the captain's knife, sushi served fresh on deck, passed hand to hand. Praise of Pisces, the tender sacrifice. Our world is water. Our world is water, each of us on our own island of aluminum, buffeted by waves, crashing and pushing us against our anchor lines like nerves stretched taut. Motors and hearts running on high, forcing boats and blood through narrow passages, searching for safe harbor, with full holes over the hills and valleys, the ebb and flow, high tides and low, hoping for a good catch. Taking my turn. Hip deep in Cook Inlet, standing firm as I hold the stern to the beach, walking the boat in with the tide. Taylor, the not-so-seaworthy dog, cowering inside. Mixed drinks. Forget mud in your eye. Here's to salt in your eye. Salt spray on your face in a sunny day. Salt on your lips, enhancing the sweetness of the tangy lime wedges. Salt rimming your hands, seasoning the salmon they touch. Their destiny mixed with yours, out of the drink and into the boat. Skiff skipping. Cool, cold, and frigid. The range of temperature testing my metal in the open aluminum skiff, skipping over the ocean, kicking up spray, salt scrubbed and weather worn. Another perfect day. Cat's cradle. Balance the lines, braid 3. One, then the other, hold tight. Loop and adjust just enough. In and through, buoys and boats, nets and fish, none adrift. It's a life. My captain. My captain is listening on the radio right now to chatter far away. A tiff, accusations of rocks thrown in nets, and twice more with no response, then a threat and more rocks. I look at my captain, glad she is simply listening. Beauty and bone. Carved from sinew, tendon, and muscles toned, hands calloused and cracked, hard heads hard and sure, bent knees and backs, balancing boats, fish, and fools, fighting for dollars and respect, mentoring, mothering, and mending nets. Against Alaska's fisherwomen, I'll take no bets. Supply and demand. We supply and demand. We supply the salmon and demand the dollars, not the cents. There is no sense in this current currency nonsense. The lines we tie. We purposefully place ourselves in these places where our lives are fully on the lines we tie, relying on each other and ourselves. With fish, we fish and hope to catch while calculating the risk. The choice is ours, hour after hour, pulling and picking pounds, weighing our choices, ticking off all that we pocket, trading a life in town, tied down. The choice is easy. Cold storage. Rain down the back of my neck, mingling with my sweat, making a mockery of my slicker. Salmon in the nets, holding my hands elbow deep beneath the surface, life and death struggle. Splash and flash, black and silver, slip and flip, a meditation. Fish, fish, fish. Lines. I've got too many lines to keep track of. I've got one line tied with knots in it I use to keep track of my speed. I've got one line tied to the buoy I use to keep track of my boat. I've got one line I use to keep me tied to those I need. I've got one line tied to my boy I use to keep him from sowing all those wild oats. I've got too many lines to keep track of, and I'm always looking for just one more line to tie it all together. I've got one line I keep tied fine. I've got one line I walk and one I won't cross. I've got one line too many. I'm tied in knots. Learning to let go. Lines drawn in the sand that disappear with the surf. Malleable and impractical on an island. Barely fishing. Bear walking the beach where we blazed last night, trying to set nets today. Treasures. Odalis's and mermaids' purses, driftwood and sea glass, Downcast my eye to catch what the sea casts aside. Beaches bejeweled and bedecked with jellyfish and sea stars, treasures for those who seek the tide. My secret pleasure. How do I hide my secret pleasure, meant only for myself? When it's filling the air, nothing to do but share. The smokehouse full of salmon, fulfilling their life cycle over crackling alder, transitioning from soft pink to rare red to hard russet. Succulent. Their unctuous, luxurious decadence moisturizing my fingers with their essential oils. My greed and gluttony evidenced by my smacking lips. And finally, once their flesh is devoured, leaving only their skins sizzling in my frying pan, filling my house with my favorite perfume, eau de fish. Thank you.
White Maine spruce, grain so even, you can almost hear the music now. Sidewood bent in the water steaming, and the easy slide of a dovetail saw. I learned these skills, but no one taught me. I make guitars that others play. Too much rain and darn long winters, but I love the work of a luthier's trade.
Thanks for stopping to talk to us today about the FisherPoets Gathering. Can you tell me your name and where you came from?
Yeah, I'm Steve from Hood River, Oregon.
Steve from Hood River. Is this your first FisherPoets Gathering?
This is my second.
So what was it about the first one that brought you back for the second one?
Oh, we had always wanted to come, and last year finally was able to happen. And then we had such a fun time that we're like trying to make this a regular thing.
Well, what would you say was your favorite? You went to performances last night, right?
No.
No? Oh, you're just starting tonight?
Yeah, just
Oh, excellent. Okay, so from last time, what was your favorite thing from last time?
We spent most of our time at Fort George last year. I don't know. There was so many good stories, and I grew up in Alaska too, and so it's like a lot of stories that take place there too. And it was, like nostalgic and really cool just to see the artistic side of the fishing industry and just kind of what people come up with while they're out fishing for long periods of time. So, yeah.
Well, you're having a good time. You had a good enough time to come back. What would you tell other people who are considering coming out for the FisherPoets Gathering?
Do it. Make it happen. Just
That's perfect. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Yeah, you bet.
Appreciate it.
All right.